Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 27 of the Oblivion Oath. I am your host and game master for this session, Jason Bulmahn, and I just had one quick note before we started off today's game. Next week is the U.S. holiday of Thanksgiving, and as a result, the Paizo offices are closed next Thursday and Friday. So, yeah, we're not going to be here. We're going to be at home. Enjoying turkeys, probably liberally seasoned with Razmir's prosperity, and we'll wash it down with some peace afterwards. So we hope that you are too. We will be back the following Thursday, so look for us then. Let's see. I think that's about all I have note-wise for right now. So why don't we get started? When we last left our intrepid band of adventurers, they were making their way through the River Kingdoms, trying, in fact, to get out of the River Kingdoms to meet up with any retreating Last Wall Knights making their way south towards Absalom. In the journey, you've had some misadventures. You went into a tomb and lost some of your guards and the horses, and as a result, have been kind of desperately searching for a way to get another horse for your wagon so that you could bring all of your supplies and notes and all that kind of stuff with you on the journey. This has led you to a small kingdom? We're going to put quotes around it. Because you carried the wagon, dragged it yourselves, into a clearing only a few miles across, in the center of which is a crumbling castle that looks like it's in the middle of being rebuilt. As you approached it, you saw a sign declaring it the Kingdom of Bright Crown. Looks like a rather newly minted kingdom in the River Kingdoms. For anyone who's familiar with it, that's a common occurrence in the River Kingdoms. Kingdoms rise and fall with some regularity, and this one looks like it's on the rise.
It's thriving.
Yeah, stop laughing. All right.
A city on the grow.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's on the up. It's not. But upon getting closer, you spoke with some peasants in the middle of picking pumpkins, and they told you that you should go speak with the kingdom, or with the king, the king of the kingdom, which would be Gildebrand Bright Crown the First. Praise be his name, conqueror of these lands, yada yada
yes,
yada.
Razmir.
And some guards came riding out of the keep to escort you to the king. Bringing you to the keep, you were escorted inside the rebuilt Grand Great Hall, which is kind of like a wooden structure inside of a crumbled old ruin. And there, far on the other side, was the king, Gildebrand Bright Crown, a goblin, sitting on a very tall wooden throne painted to look like a golden crown. The golden crown also on his head. He stood and walked towards you, trailing a lengthy mantle, longer than he is, all the way back, piled up onto his throne. He addressed you as visitors to his fair kingdom. He was excited that a visiting merchant had come to his kingdom, and that he would be delighted if you would join him for dinner that evening. Some things seemed not quite right. He seemed a little unsure of himself as a king, and was constantly whispering to his servants that they need to staff up in certain ways or get certain things, to make things ready. It's clear that this is, they're still learning their way here in the Kingdom of Bright Crown. And the scullery maid, who is Heatherfield, escorted all of you back to the guest chambers, which look like old cells, but at least it mostly has a roof. One of the cells kind of doesn't in one corner, and there's a hearth outside in the kind of guard chamber, and that's the area where you were allowed to refresh yourself with a bucket of mostly clean water and prepare for the feast. few hours went by, and the captain of the guard returned, a tall half-orc man who escorted all of you back to the throne room, where a table had been placed in the center of the room, and you were all asked to be seated. Starting with to the king's right, it was Nicodemus. Then next to Nicodemus was Nicodemus's apprentice, Mikah. Then Carina. And then down at the end of the table, in a chair where one of the legs is clearly like 2 inches shorter than the other, so that you're constantly rickety rocking back and forth and back and forth, was your new captain of the guard, one Swift Thistle. And you were all seated, and then a servant came out with a battered horn to introduce the guests, starting out with the Lady Gorb, a goblin who came out in a fine gown that actually looks like it was cut and sized for a perhaps 10-year-old human girl. And then next was the king himself, who came out in a rather regal-looking, although rather threadbare outfit with a shorter mantle this time, although it looks like it may have been at one point in time as long as the other, but was just cut rudely, kind of unevenly at the bottom. And he was bearing with him his scepter of state, which was kind of, looks like it at one point in time was used to bash someone over the head. And he came and sat down at the table. The captain of the guard took the seat at the opposite end. I should note that on the other side of the table is the Hastings family, and Severina was asked to play instead of being given a seat at the table.
Sorry.
And she is playing her flute in the corner, looking rather indignant.
Oh, well.
So the king has welcomed you all to his dinner, and it started out with a toast of some wine.
Wait, he welcomed all of us?
Oh, well, no, he did not welcome all of you. He welcomed 3 of his esteemed guests and just kind of glared at Swift Thistle.
Yeah, whatever.
And it quickly became clear throughout the meal as it kind of got underway, and you had the 2 chickens, if you recall, the main feast, the 2 chickens whose beaks were stuck into a small pumpkin, that the king is not too fond of elves. And the fact that you are making your way to Kynan, at least that's what you said at first, has made him very suspicious of all of you. And I believe at the very end of the session, he leaned over to Nicodemus and said, "We really should interrogate your elven spy." And I think that is where we left off.
Right.
I could hear that, right?
No.
Okay,
that was
I'm
whispered.
fine.
That was whispered. You're down on the other table with the captain of the guard glaring at you.
Has the 2 goblins been talking to each other at all in Goblin?
They've kept it in common.
Okay.
But they have talked. You know, he's like, "Ah, my lady, are you? Do you need more wine?" And she's like, "Oh no."
Nothing.
And anytime either Mikah or Carina laughs at the king's jokes or interacts with him in any way, she gives you a really dark glare. She just like,
Okay.
she's clearly worried.
She should be. Just my type.
Yeah, no.
Get you a king.
Yeah.
That's
Gotta hurry up, you
gonna
know?
land me a king.
Well,
Merge this kingdom together.
All right, so
I'm gonna look shocked. I'm gonna feign shocked.
We're gonna pick up right there, and he's gonna go, "We should interrogate your spy."
Your Highness, I can't imagine that my friend Swift Thistle here would be an elven spy. But if you think an interrogation is necessary, then perhaps we can put your mind at rest quite easily.
He's like, really?
Yes. yes. You see. As I said, I am an alchemist, a traveling alchemist, and of course, I can. I have with me, on my within my alchemical gear, very rare and very potent truth-telling serum.
He's like,
yes.
You don't say.
I do say, and I can. I I would be, to put you at ease, Your Highness, I would be happy to, I was going to sell this somewhere along the way, but I'd be happy to use it on Mr. Swift-Thistle there, and you'll learn all the
Mind you,
truths.
this is now way louder, and you can pick up bits of it. Yeah,
Kind of glance at what?
I will be using this on Mr. Swift-Thistle, and you will learn all you need
Wait,
to know. And
what?
you'll find that my good friend here is not a spy. I've definitely raised my voice so that everyone at the table could hear it.
He's like, he kind of looks at you. Give me a deception check.
Oh, yes.
The king says that?
No,
That's a 21.
he's like, I will consider your offer. I am more used to the traditional techniques, which is if you stretch them long enough, when things start popping, they will tell you whatever you want to know.
Yes, and we can do this in a way that won't tax your equipment in any way.
What about?
That's true. He is kind of tall.
Yes, it might take some time to stretch him out completely, and we wouldn't want to put any undue burden on any of your materials here in your kingdom.
He kind of says, "I'll think on that. I'll think on
Please do.
that." He kind of looks down at the table at you.
gonna glance at
He's just
him.
like,
Suddenly aware of the situation, I look over the guard to the side of me like, oh.
and he's just like, just looking at you with kind of a toothing. And as you look at him, he like takes his fork and just stabs like a chunk of chicken, and he just kind of tears at it, and it's just like,
Just gonna glance around and be like, I like my fingernails though.
he's like,
Mr. Swift-Thistle, you have nothing to fear, for you are not a spy, yes?
No, of course not.
Yeah, indeed. So once we have determined the truth of the matter, we can go about our merry way, perhaps after this fine feast is over.
And we get a horse.
And get a horse, of course, yes.
Of course, of
Thank
course.
you, Karina. Always thinking practically.
the king is like, well, you'll understand if I instruct my captain Halvren to keep an eye on him.
Of course.
Okay.
And he
Yes.
just kind of.
Just gonna glance at him and be like, oh, okay.
He there was some garnish around the chickens, like some leaves and some like cherry tomatoes and stuff, and he's like stuffing cherry tomatoes in his mouth, and the juice is just running down his chin as he pops each one, staring at you, kind of just like maliciously. He's just kind of, yep, I'll keep an eye on
Could you pass that chicken over there? I want the head.
it. He kind of reaches down into his pouch and pulls out. It's a knife. It's like this long, and it is like viciously serrated, and you can still see like the rust stains of blood on it, and just kind of slams it down into the table. It causes like all of the silverware to kind of do that kind of in the whole table, and he kind of stabs the head and just kind of dumps it on your plate.
All right. Thanks.
He's kind of, with the chef's honor.
I'm a little bit scared right now, so my appetite's been ruined. I'll eat it in a bit.
So the goblin the king turns his attention away from the elf for just
thank
a
goodness.
moment as he's thinking about that, and he says, "So where are you heading? Where's your destination, merchant?"
Kionin.
We'll be heading to our ultimate destination is Absalom, and we'll be, of course, skirting through Kionin on the way, and on whatever south of that. I can't quite remember from here.
Andoran.
Andoran.
Well, I
yes,
mean, yeah.
perhaps.
That or Iskar, it depends on which way you want to
Yeah,
go.
we most likely will go through Andoran.
I see.
There'll be a few places there I can sell my wares along the way.
I see. So let's talk about your wares. What is it that you offer?
Yes. I have all manner of potions and ointments and unguents to ease the troubled any pains you might have and soothe your mind, so to speak. If any of your kingdom might be suffering from a nasty rash or a pox, I might be able to help you.
Now
he's
that you mention it.
He's like, funny enough, and he literally like brings his foot up
No.
onto the
Oh.
table.
No.
Boy.
He just slaps it down, and he's got a big gross goblin foot.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom of it has some sort of boil.
Ooh.
And he's like, so,
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering, this thing oozes, and he kind of he's like poking at it, and it's not pleasant. And he's like, so this thing, I've been having this for a long time now, and whenever I walk on it, it kind of
Looks painful.
It really hurts. Do you have something for this?
Of course. Indeed I do.
Well, all right. And he takes the foot down off the table, and you see him kind of put it down. He's like, well, we might be able to do some business, and you said you were in need of a horse.
Yes, our horses were attacked by wild beasts on our way here, and we barely made it out with our lives ourselves. But the horse that pulls my wagon, may she rest in peace, is no longer with us.
Oh, yes. There are many wild beasts outside of my protected domain.
Indeed.
It's a very dangerous world out there. What direction did you say it was?
We came from a sort of east-northeast-ish.
He kind of looks over to his guard, and he's like, we'll go investigate that. The guard's like, sure. And he's like, we'll investigate that and make sure that the area is safe for the future.
Oh, it's not.
Of course.
If
you see a big tree with some roots over it and some dirt just sort of very covering it, and you hear moans and rattling of bones from underneath that dirt, you might want to steer clear of that particular area. But the road is still fine.
And there's
Mostly
some abandoned
fine.
wagons back there, too.
Yes, at least one.
At least one.
Did you say wagons?
Yes, we had to leave one of our other wagons.
Oh.
Less flamboyant than my own.
Well, what a shame. And he kind of, and the guard's just like, quill. There's like a scribe over in the corner who takes notes. And he's like, well, I'm sure we can find some way to accommodate your need, but understand, horses are in rare supply.
Or any other beast of burden you might have, a mule or a donkey, to get us moving a little further, because we cannot pull the wagon much further.
Well, we do have a few workhorses here, but they are, as I said, they're in high supply, and while we will certainly be able to send for another, that will take time and effort and resources. So, it's going to be rather expensive.
Well, perhaps we can come to a meeting of minds, a trade a bit for some of my goods for one of your horses.
Perhaps. I couldn't let it go for more than, and he kind of snaps, and one of the guards comes up and shows him a piece of paper, and he's like, ooh, yeah, it's very expensive. It's like 20 crowns.
Yes. A bit.
Could we trade him some information about a cache of wine and coins that might be?
Maybe, perhaps.
You remember that tree I said to avoid? Don't avoid
Well, no.
it.
There's a different entrance.
Yeah.
Find the decapitated bodies.
Well, that place should be pretty much safe, except for the skeletons.
I don't really care if it's safe or not, if he's going to go investigate it. We should be long gone by then.
Your Highness, my
He kind of is like,
here,
what's this? What's this with the dungeon? He kind of looks over at you and he goes, my lady, tell me more about this dungeon that you speak of.
Oh, I'm just a guard.
Yes.
The professor is much more eloquent with explaining things.
Oh, but I do love to hear the sound of your voice, so maybe you could get at this. Lady Gorb has turned. She is just fuming. There's like a storm cloud above her head.
Oh.
If she wasn't so green, she'd be red.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, but I do like to hear the tale. We've heard enough of dusty alchemy talk. Please, tell me more about this dungeon.
I'm trying to figure out how Carina could leverage that to get a horse. That's what I would really like this conversation to do. But I'm personally not sure of how to get there.
Well, he's just staring at you.
You want to butt in here? Okay. Your Highness, that is some information that we were planning on taking advantage of at a later date, perhaps on our way back at some future time. There were some valuables in there that we'd kind of hoped to
Our
take for
horses
ourselves.
hadn't have been dead, we would have been rich, but we couldn't carry it all.
Exactly.
No, we did pile it up in nice, neat little, like,
We were ready to
right
go.
by the door. We just left it in these piles of loot, but we just couldn't take it with us.
Some fine wines, some coins, but that information is very valuable to us.
I see. But you came from the northeast, did you not?
Yes, but it's not a place that you'd be able to find so easily without our help.
Shrewd. Very shrewd. Tell you what.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps you could do me the favor of helping me find this place so that my guards might be able to keep it safe,
Indeed.
to secure it.
Perhaps even annex it into your wonderful kingdom.
Well, you never know. I mean, the kingdom of Bright Crown is growing by leaps and bounds. Every day we are expanding the foothold of my domain, and you can literally hear guards' eyes rolling back in their head, like from a distance. It's like a weird kind of cranking, clicking noise. And he's like, so, that might be an opportunity, especially if you say it's monster-filled ruins. That means no one else is patrolling it, and if they are, they're surely not doing a good enough job. Now the Kingdom of Bright Crown could make these lands safe for everyone.
Yes, yourself and your capable guards.
And as I am a benevolent ruler, I could maybe see to cut the price of the horse in half. How about that?
I see.
Depending. I mean, how much danger and reward are we talking about?
I think very little danger, but very high reward.
Yeah, we did leave it, like, all the stuff we wanted to take with us, we did leave right by, like, the entrance.
Yes, and we were a bit chased away by that beast that eventually killed our horses. I think my Mr. Swift Thistle here put a few arrows into it. I don't think it'll be bothering anyone anytime soon. So, of course, this means that it is a time-sensitive offer.
No?
Very well. I will cut the price of the horse in half to 10 gold if you tell me the location of this dangerous dungeon.
That sounds amicable. Perhaps with a few additional, some of my potions and unguents, we could even make an even trade then.
Seems
or cut it
reasonable
down
to
a
me.
little bit more.
Yeah. Well, that seems reasonable then. Very well. The pudding. And he kind of
Oh no.
and they bring out the pudding, which are crocks with some sort of flaky pastry on top, and they're all steaming and look like they just came out of the oven.
I'll dig in.
Yeah.
I think I might know what it is, but I'm gonna dig in.
I mean, it's like an organ pudding, right? I mean,
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's not like.
I was hoping it'd be a pumpkin
I
pie.
was
No.
Yeah.
Oh, to be clear, it is
some pumpkin.
filled with chunks of pumpkin, just to make it all work. But it is kind of a gelatinous meat and pudding mess.
Oh, okay.
A blood pudding.
It's filled with
Bits.
chunks of pumpkin and organs.
Yeah.
Okay.
My chef's delicacy. Yes. And he kind of they kind of plop them down on the table. And yours is burned.
Come on.
Hey, at least you got one. Sabrina doesn't even
Yeah,
have a
it's
pie.
Yeah,
Have a
that's...
pudding.
Yeah, she's back there in the corner. They've given her like a mug of ale or water or something, and like a plate of like cold meat and cheese and stuff. that she's been kind of picking at back in the corner as she plays the flute quietly for the assembled dignitaries. And he's like, so tell me more about yourselves. How about you?
Oh no.
Well, I'm a guard. There's not much more than that.
Oh, just a simple guard then.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've been protecting a few different types of caravans and travelers, but the merchant life seems to be a little easier. And
Would you say that you're a skilled and capable guard?
not really.
I've been looking for a captain of my King's
Yeah, I
Guard.
figured out where that was going.
And and I could always use a capable warrior. And I mean, I am sure that a merchant pays quite well, but not nearly so much as a king.
Well, what is the religious aspects of your kingdom? I'm very devoted to Pharasma.
He's like, and he's like, we haven't really declared a sponsored state deity yet. And he kind of snaps at the guard, and the guard's like, I don't know. And he's like,
Why don't you tell them about what Pharasma is the goddess of?
Birth, death, and prophecy.
Well, I mean, yeah, we need plenty of that in a I mean, not the death part, but we do need plenty of prophecies and births. I mean, this kingdom ain't gonna grow itself. And he looks over to Lady Gorb, and she's just kind of glaring at him, and he's like,
Well, I mean, to be honest, I am just kind of a simple guard. I don't have any experience with leadership, but I do know someone who has extensive experience leading
Throw me under
troops.
that wagon. Perfect.
He kind of looks down at the end of the table. Oh, she's funny. It's good to have a funny guard with you.
Captain the guard is right here.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, yeah. And the guard is just like,
Sorry.
just keeps eating.
I'll apologize to him. Just trying to be nice.
He's just like, And what about you? Are you through your training yet? Are you ready to depart into a wider world? I'm in use of an alchemist.
Oh, I'm just getting started. I'm just learning, so I don't really know that much yet.
Oh.
Learning new things every day, though. But
Oh.
For most of us, the professor has very generously allowed us to come on board as kind of newbies. I don't know.
A work training.
Yeah.
I see.
Interns.
I see. Well,
yeah.
well, perhaps then I can impress upon you. Why talk to the servants when I can speak to the master? What about you? Would you like to stay in the kingdom? I'll give you leave to set up a shop and a building, and you can make the Bright Crown Kingdom your own. You could be my royal alchemist.
That is a very generous and very tempting offer, Your Highness. But I'm afraid the open road is my home, and it calls me ever forth and ever onward.
He kind of looks at you. He's like, very well, I understand. I mean, I have a powerful court wizard who's just out on a mission now for me. So,
Yes.
I would have had to run it by him anyway. So I'm sure, I'm not sure it would have even worked. But I always like to keep my options.
Indeed, I wouldn't want to impinge on anyone's territory.
No,
in that fashion. I know a few alchemists along my route here, going down through Enderin. I might be able to speak with one or two of them and see if they have
Perhaps, yeah.
want to settle down.
Yeah, well, perhaps. We'll see. Well, I am stuffed. And he kind of pats his tummy, and he's like, well, I want to thank all of you for such a wondrous bit of company, and thank you. He kind of raises his goblet to Severina over in the corner, and she kind of nods, curtsies a bit, and he's like, I think I need to turn in. and he looks at the guard captain, and he kind of does this, and then leaves.
Okay.
He gets up, and Lady Gorb leaves with him, leaving the group of you here with the captain of the guard and the other assembled guards who are here.
Well, we should turn in as well. I think when perhaps we can bright and early in the morning make our departure with a brand new horse.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the scullery maid comes soon thereafter to escort you back to your suite.
Does the captain of the guard come with me?
No, he does not.
Oh, whatever.
He follows the group of you
Okay.
back towards that wing, but he stays outside.
Okay. I'll when we get in, actually more hushed tones, so that the captain might not hear us. I apologize for that, Mr. Swifthistle. The king was quite suspicious of you. And,
Yeah.
I mean, if it were to come to it, I don't have one. I don't have a truth-telling potion, but
Yeah, you do.
but I do have something that you could, if it come to it, I will give you something that will be completely harmless. Don't worry about it. But we should play along with his suspicion. Don't admit to being a spy, of course. But
You should play along with this. I'm a spy.
I'm not a spy. I'm just a burned out diplomat.
I know you're not. And we can get out of here in one piece, plus one horse. Again, fingers crossed. So we'll just rest the night. There's no reason for us to go poking about.
Nope. None whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
It is cold outside, and there is a fire here, which is better than most of the houses I've seen.
And I mean, there is a bed. I mean, it's better than sleeping on the ground.
I would debate that.
You said they were rotted like
And that they-
straw mats, right?
Yeah, but if you put your sleeping bag on top of it, it's actually got some cushion to
You
it.
can barely smell the rot.
Yeah, it's like sleeping on a giant mushroom. It's fine.
Compared to the tavern or the hostel tavern,
Yeah.
that we stayed in.
The flop house
The
is
flop house,
the best
is that
way to
the term?
describe it.
Yeah.
Hostel's a good term
Yeah.
if you're spelling it the other way.
I suspect.
Yeah, I mean, this it could be worse. The accommodations here
well,
are
I'm trying to get a
crude,
comparison. Is it better or worse than what we stayed in before in
but,
Rasmere?
I think in Rasmere you weren't even really in bedrooms or anything even similar to it. You were just kind of in like space.
They didn't have locks on the doors
Yeah.
or handles.
Yeah. Whereas this at least has, beds, mats,
Cells.
and
Yeah, I'll look at
And-
Mikah and just say, we've done worse.
Could
Yep.
be sleeping in a cave or something. I mean,
I'm tired and full of
Yep.
questionable food, so I am fine to go to sleep.
on
I
that-
was gonna say, if it comes down to it, the Lady Gorb seems to have some jealousy issues, so you could maybe also play on those if it
Yes.
comes down to it.
Indeed. Good eye. Good eye.
If
gonna-
he really wants to keep us here, you can just start flirting with him, and then she'll make us leave.
Yeah.
I also do want to check in with Sabrina, just to thank Sabrina for putting up with.
she's just like I'm just glad he wasn't flirting with me. And she kind of goes off to the corner and just
Fair enough.
yeah, it's
I'll
just like
shudder at that thought as well. Just, no.
So the night passes uneventfully?
No. So I mean, nice try, but no. You all are back in your rooms, and if you recall, there's 4 cells, but they don't really have locks on them. They just have ropes to hold them closed. The one at the end has a hole in the ceiling and is exposed to the elements, but the other 3 do not. But none of them have fireplaces either. So they're pretty cold because they're on the outside wall. Then there's the main room where there is a fireplace and you have been provided enough wood to make that at least warm. You were going to warm up water, but you realized you didn't have a kettle. That was probably stolen decades ago. And so there isn't one of those to be had. So where's everybody bedding down?
We could just drag the mattresses into the room with the fireplace.
That's what I was
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we all fit in there essentially?
You
Squeeze it.
can. The Hastings family is actually staying in one of the rooms.
Fair enough.
They'll make do. All three of them in there.
You know,
makes
if they
it
go
warm
in the
enough.
one that has the hole in the ceiling, they could actually probably just build a little campfire in the corner.
They
Warm 'em up.
actually go in one of the ones that doesn't have the hole, just because the three of them all being in there actually creates enough warmth that
Okay.
they'll be okay.
Okay.
And they're used to kind of all sleeping in a big kind of sleeping bag blanket pile.
Cuddle puddle.
Yeah, basically. So they're good with that. Severina will stay out here with all of you. But so it's the five of you, and then the three of them are off in another room. And it's about 11 o'clock when the door opens.
Okay.
And at this point in time, I'm wagering some of you have gone to sleep. But the moment the door opens, you're kind of woken up because it's noisy. The door in here creaks and rattles a bit on its hinges.
We probably put something up against it to make noise if it was thrown open as well.
It isn't really thrown open, but it is opened, like without care or secrecy. It's not like someone tried to quietly creak it open. The door is opened, and in walks the captain, Captain Halvren, and you can see out in the hallway behind him there because there are like torches in that hallway, but it doesn't have a roof. But you can see, like, backlit in there's a handful of his guards in that hallway. And Halvren comes in and he's like, all right. He looks around, sees you,
Mm-hmm.
sees you,
Mm-hmm.
turns to look to you, and he says, the king has decided to take you up on your offer. Seize him! And the guards come in and brusquely attempt to grab you.
You know, there doesn't really seem to be reasonable amounts of justice. How high up was that hole in the second room?
It's down at the end, so it's the opposite away from this guy. And so the ceiling's around 8 or 9 feet tall, and the hole's up in the ceiling. So,
Okay. This is the second story, or is this the first story?
You're on the first story. This building doesn't have a second story anymore.
How close are we to escaping? Could I just like jump over the side?
So you're pretty sure that the way this keep is built, the way to think about it is there's a keep building, and then there's a yard in front of it that has a crumbling wall. So you're over on one of the sides, which means that hole on the other side of it is probably outside the keep entirely.
Yeah.
It's out in the fields, right? So jumping out the other side, you'd be out in the fields.
All right. I am going to yelp in surprise at this, and I'm going to look at you. Do you look surprised? Do you look like you have a scenario?
I've got this all under control. Mr. Swifthistle, there's no need for roughness. Mr. Swifthistle, you'll come with us, and we'll get this all sorted out, put the king's fears to rest. You're not a spy, so there's nothing to worry about.
I know I'm not a spy, but they don't know that.
Okay.
They will know soon enough.
The guards are about to grab you. You have to tell me right now.
I will sign and let this happen.
You're letting it happen.
I'm
All right.
protesting the grabbing.
I'm going to put my die back down. Okay. This close. All right.
Roll initiative.
I'm fast.
All right. So the guards seize him by the shoulders and arms,
Let go of me.
lifting him up off the ground,
This is
and
kinda cool,
escorting him out of the room.
All right. Captain, would you mind if my apprentice and my bodyguard came along with us, just in case?
He's like, "Sorry, king's orders, just you."
And where will we be going?
We'll be going down to the interrogation room.
And that's downstairs, underneath the keep.
He looks at you and he's like, "It's this way."
So you understand, as the bodyguard of the king, that you can't just leave your person that you're supposed to be guarding, so I go where he goes.
He's like, "I'm sorry, the king's orders were explicit. I'm afraid you have to remain here."
I'm sure that if the king knew that I was coming along to help guard, not protect my, make sure that he stays safe and good, that he would be okay with that.
You see the gears moving in the back of his head. Make me a diplomacy check.
Well, that's not my expertise. 7.
7. He kind of looks at you and he's like, I'm sorry. I would. But he's like, I'll ask the king if I should come back and get you.
Come anyways. Yeah. You're just like,
Well, that's most gracious of you, Captain.
So at
Let us
this,
go.
they are ushering you and Nicodemus and Swift Thistle out.
Ushering.
Yeah, well, they're escorting Nicodemus out. They are carrying you out.
Literally.
And they go out of the room. They leave one guard here, who closes the door as they all leave, and he just sits there. Brusque-looking human fellow, looks like he's in his 40s. Big bald spot, bad teeth.
So I'm gonna put my armor on. I think that's gonna take a few minutes.
you're just like, no reason. Don't worry about
Well,
it.
for when they come back for me, because they will. And if they don't, then I'll go.
The guard's like, "Why are you dressing up?"
Well,
He's got-
presumably, as soon as
he's got a
they come
fork.
back, I'm gonna want to go.
Gonna look good for the king.
Sure.
Smart. All right, so the two of you are escorted out. They take you out to the yard, where they said, King said you'll need to get something from your wagon.
Yes. I will go into the wagon. I will quickly alchemy up some.
The
a couple
owlbear's in
things.
there, isn't he?
He-
The owlbear's
no,
in the wagon, or did?
No,
uh,
the
You were
Albert
feeding
was
him-
great.
oh, that's right.
Was
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
banquet.
right. Yeah, that's right. Yep.
I will go in there and I'll get my like fanciest looking bottle that I
Okay.
can find, and then
Sure.
I will quick alchemy up one of my snake oils.
Okay.
I'm also gonna quickly alchemy.
Who wants some rosemary water and some? And
Wait,
some
what kind of
salt?
rosemary water?
Oh no!
This tastes like horse.
That was my first thought too. I was like, oh no!
And I'm gonna also quickly alchemy up a mutagen for myself and drink it real quick.
Okay.
Yes, my features become striking and my voice becomes musical and commanding.
Oh, how
But
does
I'm a
that
little
work?
like, whoa, okay.
All right, so you're being, by the way, they drag you out into the yard,
Yep.
and apparently the way to get to the cell is through the yard. So they take you out into the yard, and they take you down into what looks like a wine cellar.
Well, wasn't expecting to find myself in a horrible one of these again this quickly. All right, I'm just gonna glance around.
Yeah, it is a wine cellar. Most of the racks are entirely empty and just filled with cobwebs.
Okay.
But they take you to the back where there is a secret door that is open, and beyond it is a dim, torch-lit room.
Oh.
And even from here, in the middle of the room, you can see a table that is designed to stretch people to rack.
Okay. This is awesome. Okay. Well, I am trusting in Professor Nicodemus, and this is terrible, and everything's going to be great, I'm sure.
All right.
Famous last
So
words.
Yeah,
you are
probably.
then after that only takes you a moment or
It
two,
only takes me a moment or two to quick alchemy something.
and then you are escorted back out,
Mhm.
and they take you down to follow.
Mhm.
And by the time you get there, they have him sitting on the table. They
Okay.
haven't put the rack on him yet. They haven't strapped him into it. But there are like two guards there who are like in like the black hood of a torturer. But mind you, there's something about it that seems kind of off. Like they're still wearing the livery of the guard, and
Right.
and like you can kind of tell who they are,
I recognize that
and you can see the king looking at him like, yeah, those guys look bad, but it's just kind of no one quite has their, I don't know what's the right way to put it. They don't have their heart into it.
Sure,
They're
yeah.
just kind of like, none of them are playing with the tools and staring at him or anything, trying to be intimidating.
Yeah,
they
they're
just kind of got him
just
sitting there,
Okay.
and then one they're sitting over in the corner, just kind of waiting.
Okay.
Like
So
I
they're
mean,
bad extras, basically.
yeah, I mean, if they could be on a smoke break, they probably would. You are escorted in, and the king's like, so, I've decided to take you up on your offer, and I thought we would come down here just in case he decided not to cooperate.
won't be necessary, but this is a very charming interrogation room you have, Your Highness.
Charming. Okay.
He's like, yes, it is.
Very frightening.
It is
Um,
very frightening.
all right.
Please, I'll tell you anything you want to hear right now.
Scene cut. Back up to the room. The two of you, you're getting your armor on. What are you doing other than trying to keep a nervous owlbear cub from rampaging? And by rampaging, I mean just kind of tumbling around and playing with things. Yeah.
Aw, what an adorable
Squeaking.
rampage. I'm currently wondering how worth it would be to disobey the no magic rule. It's what I'm doing, but I don't really know how he enforces that or even knows about it. So I'm looking through my book frantically to see if I can find something.
Okay. So as you're discussing this, the door opens. Or rather, there's a knock at the door. And then the guard opens the door, and he's like, the king's orders, no visitors. And you hear a voice, I don't care what he says, I want to go talk to them.
Oh no.
And the guard's like, and she's like, soon I'm going to be queen, and then you're going to have to listen to me, so I don't think I won't remember this. And he's like, all right. He opens up the door, and Lady Gorb is there, and she comes stomping into the room. She's no longer in her dress. She's in a not as nice of a dress. She's in a more plain, like, looks kind of like an evening gown, and you can tell she has a dagger at her side, and she's got her kind of hand on it. And she kind of comes in with a bit of a rage, and she stomps right up to you, and she's like, now you listen here. I don't know what you're up to, but I'm here to warn you that any attempt to take him, you'll meet my wrath.
So as I mentioned at dinner, I worship Pharasma, who's the goddess of prophecy and stuff. And I can assure you that it is not my fate to end up in a kingdom in that sort of position. I am destined for fighting and traveling and whatnot.
She's kind of looking at you, real like, give me another diplomacy check.
Okay, I have 1 hero point left, so
You can do it.
that's gonna be a 15.
Nice.
She's like, your god told you this?
Goddess.
Goddess, yeah, whatever. And then she's like, okay, so what did she say about me then? Tell me that.
Well, I mean, this was a while ago, so I hadn't met you then, so I wouldn't have known to ask. But,
But you can ask her now.
I can't really. That's not quite how it works. But we could try
She's now
to.
looking really confused.
I mean, I'm a devoted worshiper, but I'm not like a cleric, or I'm not a what's some other deific magic users.
Yeah, you're
I'm not a priestess. I'm not a cleric or anything. I'm just a guard, but I have a very strong faith. But I could try to see if there's anything floating around about you.
She's like, all right. And do I sit down or do I?
Yeah. Sit down.
She's just like, do I have to?
Yeah,
do I need
no.
to-
Sit down. So
All right.
Carina will go in her pack and get the stuff that she has for her own prayers to Pharasma and lay it out, make it look very ceremoniously. And then she's going to close her eyes and kind of,
Okay.
get into a prayerful pose and tell Lady Gorb that, kind of leaning towards what she wants to hear in that sort of generic way of, you will live a long and prosperous life and provide many children who will, grow up to be strong warriors and heirs of a throne. And she's going to say it in Goblin.
Ooh.
All right, give me a deception check, and I'm going to give you a bonus.
Oh no!
Okay. All right, here you go. All right,
Well,
I want this to
well.
work.
That didn't
Okay.
go well.
Oh, okay.
Come on, dice.
That is going. Shit. It's a 7.
7.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of goes, huh. Well, I like the part about the heirs. Are you sure?
I'm gonna try something else. I'm gonna try to intimidate her into not questioning the word of a goddess.
So you're going to berate her for questioning?
Sort of, yeah. Just like, who are you to question the words of a deity?
Give me an intimidate check.
All right, so that one's gonna be a little bit better. I rolled a 15, so that is going to be a 21.
She's like, oh, well, jeez. Goddess gets all touchy. Wow. All right. She kind of looks at you and then sees the owlbear. It's like, oh, and it's like, oh, that's adorable. And we'll scene wipe away. All right. So back down in the torture chamber / old storage room. The king has said, all right, administer your serum, alchemist, and we shall judge it by its efficacy.
Behold!
You say you cannot tell falsehoods.
You cannot tell falsehoods.
Ah, very good.
Yes, behold, the aqua veritas.
That's
And pull out the fancy thing. And now, Mrs. Withistle, if you would be so kind, this comes directly from across the inner sea, from the northern reaches of Garund. The aqua veritas. Here you are.
I will look at it and just kind of sigh and be like, all right, well, feel free to ask me any questions you have.
You'll
Bottoms
drink
up.
it, or it'll be the rack.
Well, I guess I'll just have to drink it then.
All right. Well,
Take
first
a
of all, you give me a deception check for that big giant pile of bull.
Thing.
That's his whole livelihood.
That's my whole livelihood.
Well, that's why he's good at it.
Thanks
Yeah.
to my silver tongue mutagen.
Can I make
it's
a
little bit of bonus.
Can I make a performance check to try and assist him?
Sure. Yeah.
All
with
right.
your drinking,
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a 22. I'm
Oh,
a very
yeah.
good actor.
you give an authentic shudder and everything.
24 and then 25 with the aid? Plus
Yeah,
1 to 8? Yeah,
sure.
25 total.
He's like, very well.
Oh, this thing is. Oh, your throne is just painted and it's made out of wood.
He's like, how did he know that?
I am. Oh no.
That's all right, Mr. Swift. This will end momentarily. Now, please, ask your questions of him.
How long do I have?
You have 5 minutes.
You have,
I'm gonna look at you like, oh, come on.
He's like, very well. We'll start out with something simple.
Ugh.
Who is the most attractive Goblin King you've ever seen?
You're actually the only one I've ever met, so it would be you.
Yes. He's like, all right.
One for Hildebrand.
On for something more difficult. Are you a spy for Kainen?
No. I used to be a diplomat a long time ago, but I burned out.
So you used to work for Kainen.
A long time ago. But
Does Kainen have any moves against this particular region of the River Kingdoms?
no, actually, Kainen never does anything. You could literally have a post-apocalyptic event occurring, and Kainen would do nothing.
Like the Whispering Tyrant breaking free. Is that true?
Have you heard of anything that Kainen has done in response to that?
I'm the one asking questions here, not you.
You're right.
What kind of truth serum is this? It's not about asking questions.
You're right.
You shut up.
Well-
I mean, until I ask you questions, then you talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Huh. All right.
From what I've heard, and I am a lieutenant in the Knights of the Last Wall, that the Whispering Tyrant has broken free, in fact. We're in a full retreat currently to rally at Absalom. Thus why we're retreating back to there. It's the safest place.
Well, all right.
Ugh.
Well, that's horrifying.
So if you have any particular maladies, you don't feel them.
Yeah, you feel
feel okay.
fine.
Yeah,
I just have
yeah.
extreme anxiety sitting on this torture rack. Just be like, no, all right, performance time.
Yeah.
He's like, very well. Do you? Where is it? All right. Do you know anything about the Bandit Lord Taman?
No. Is that someone? I don't ask questions.
good. You wouldn't. He's dead, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All right. So it doesn't know about that. Kynan. And when was the last time you were in Kynan?
47 years ago.
Oh. All right. Yeah, you're free to go.
Thank you.
He's like, all right. Yeah, no problem. Great. Hey, thanks. That really put me at ease.
Oh, good. I'm happy to say. I see you, Mr. Swift-Thistle here again is a trusted companion of mine.
Start breathing a little heavily. Just, oh my god. Okay.
Please, and if you want,
he's like, wait. One more thing. How much treasure was actually left behind at the ruins I just bargained for?
Let's see, there was a couple ancient vintage wines that were probably worth at least 20 crowns, if not 100, depending on who you find for them. There was quite a bit of old elven architecture and just good gear that you could use that would actually make this place really come to life. Your kingdom would look twice as fancy with a lot of it sitting around.
Ah. Ha-ha, I got a good deal.
you did.
Yeah.
You were a shrewd negotiator.
If we
Johannes.
didn't have a wagon, we would have brought everything. It was worth quite a bit.
Give me a performance check.
I can do that.
All right.
That is not the best die roll, so that's a 15.
He's like, well. Seems like I got quite the bargain. See that? And the guards are like, yeah, sure. Yes, Your Highness. Yeah.
Well, Your Highness, if we can finish up all of our negotiations in the morning, perhaps give you the exact location of this elven ruin, and
Absolutely. I'll meet you all for breakfast.
and yes, and get our horse. The horse still. And
Yes, yes.
I'll of
Yes.
course
Yes,
have
of
some of
course.
my potions. I'll bring to you out from the.
Yes,
Again,
let it not be said that Gildebrand Brightcrown is not a honorable king of his word. You shall have the horse, and we shall finish our negotiations in the morning over delicious pumpkin omelets.
I cannot wait. Sounds mouth-watering. And I will make sure to spread the word of King Gildebrand Brightcrown all along our way as we go, so that everyone knows what a benevolent and efficacious ruler you are.
Ah, very good, very good. Well, all right, you're not too bad, I guess. I'm still keeping my eye on you, though.
To be fair, that's reasonable.
Yeah. Damn elves. All right. He looks to the captain of his guard and he's like, all right, come on, Halvin. He's Halvin. And Halvin's like, it's payday. We just hit midnight. And the king's like, yes, of course. Right this way. And they leave, and the last remaining guards escort you back to your room. By the time you get there, Lady Gorb has left already. She played around with the owlbear for a bit, but after it nipped at her, she got afraid and ran away. She did, as she backed out of the room, still eye both of you up a little suspiciously, but looks mostly ameliorated, and she is on her way. You return to the room. Both of them. They even look intact.
How did it go?
No worries at all. We have we'll have a horse in the morning,
Sweet.
barring any other terrible happenings. But we'll have breakfast. We'll let him know where that ruin is, and then we will get our horse, and I'll give him some potions to go.
The guards did mention something about payday, so if we suddenly just hear a bunch of commotion, it might be that there wasn't enough pay for the day.
That's no business of ours.
No, unless it rolls over.
As long as we get a horse.
Yes, indeed.
And if we buy a horse, then they'll have money for payday.
Well, we're buying the horse with the information and the.
Well, I thought we
potions.
still were gonna.
We'll give him. We'll probably need to spend a few.
Are you sure you don't worship Abadar?
I thought it was getting a discount, not.
Yeah,
So-
so into that. We'll
Yeah, you got a discount, but you're still going to negotiate the rest in trade.
Yeah.
So the rest of your evening goes uneventfully. No one comes to bother you, and you're allowed to get some well-earned rest after dealing with so many meetings with His Highness. And so the rest of your evening passes smoothly and peacefully. The next morning, after being allowed to sleep in a bit, one of the servants comes and rouses you and says that the king is about to break his fast, and that you have been invited to join him, where he will conclude the transactions with you and send you on your way. So you're allowed to kind of finish your morning preparations and that sort of stuff, and then you're escorted to the breakfast nook, which is. Is
it the Great Hall, but the other side? The table's over there now.
No, it's different.
Okay.
You're actually escorted alongside the Great Hall out to the other side, where there's like an old battlement, kind of looking out to the kind of south east, and it's a bit brisk up here in the morning, but the sun is hitting it, and you're kind of up on this old battlement, and there's like a table there. Overlooking the pumpkin fields to the south, and a bit of the yard, the bailey, right next door to you. And the king is already there, and there is a large steaming pumpkin that, when you get close, you realize that they have cut open this pumpkin and poured a rich broth inside, and there are eggs floating in it. And he reaches up with his bare hand and just grabs one, and he says, friends, sit, join me in this bountiful feast.
Are the eggs, like, still in their shell?
No,
like
they've
hard
been
boiled?
shelled.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't...
Hard-boiled.
No.
If they were in their shell, then him reaching in and getting one wouldn't be a problem. But
Yeah.
if they're not, then...
It'd take a minute to like fish around and like probably touch all of them.
He doesn't quite do that. I mean,
Right.
he grabs the first one, but he's short, so he can't really see into it, so he kind of has to fish around a bit, and yeah.
And he's got that boil on his foot.
Well, hopefully he's not reaching in there with his.
No, but
Who knows?
do you think a goblin's gonna wash his hands?
No,
Oh,
no,
gosh,
I
yeah,
don't.
He
was
said,
squeezing
Well, I am here to gladly negotiate with all of you for the last bits for this marvelous steed. And he points down at the yard, and being led out of one of the stables is one of the most broke down, old, skin and bones draft horses you've ever seen. And may I present to you the noble Bright Steed. And that is where I'm ending today's game. I want to thank you all for watching. Remember, folks, next week we are going to be off for the Thanksgiving holiday. We will see you the week after that. Have a wonderful holiday, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.